Edward Thomas is an African analyst, joins us live from Glasgow. Edward, thank you for taking the time out to talk to us. We are hearing now that the rebels have taken over Bor. How important is that?
Bor is the capital of Jonglei State, which is for a long time been one of the most mutinous peripheries of Sudan and South Sudan. It's a place where civil wars in the past have started, and it's a place with a tragic and painful history of massacres over the last 20 years and before that. So if these reports are correct, it means that it may mean that the people opposed, the groups opposed to President Salva Kiir, have a territorial base from which they can begin their negotiations, and that might affect the outcome of negotiations.
Is this the start of civil war? People are saying that, you know, there's a potential. I mean, could this mark the start of that?
I sincerely hope it's not the start of a civil war. The outlook is not good. It's terrible how dramatically and violently the landscape has changed in South Sudan over the last few weeks and months. It may be the start of a prolonged period of violence, but it's also important to remember that South Sudan and Sudan are countries where there are a lot of negotiations, a lot of big negotiations between security men happening all the time. And in the run-up to negotiations, there's often an intensification of violence as political leaders seek to have a, you know, strengthen their hand at the negotiating table. So
sure, and that could,
that might work out.
Sure, I mean, that could be what's happening at the moment, as you say, because the rebel leader has said that he is prepared to talk, and that rebels will be going to the talks in Ethiopia. What do you think will be on the table then if these talks do indeed go ahead?
Well, it's difficult, and the reports about the talks, as you know, they've been somewhat contradictory, with different people being named as heads of the rebel delegation. You know, it's hard to get confirmation of these reports. But I guess one of the aims of the talks will be to have some kind of political reconciliation between the leaderships who have taken a factional fight and projected it onto a complicated and sometimes traumatized and hopeful young nation. I certainly hope that some kind of interim agreement can be reached, but this whole episode has shown that the contradictions that exist in South Sudanese society need to be addressed in a very thorough and ground-up way. I'm not sure if the talks could really begin to address those deeper contradictions in South Sudanese society.
Edward Thomas, thank you.